Hey everybody, it's that time again. 3v3 is coming up this week, and it's time to rewire your brain to play the game in a different way as opposed to 5v5. 3v3 is always hard to jump back into because you haven't been doing it in any other part of the game for at least over a month and you forget. So we're going to be going over best offensive squads, defensive squads, and teams that could be used either on offense or defense. There's been a lot of changes on which team goes in what role. We got new teams and datacrons. The new set shakes things up a lot. This is mainly from an in-game perspective of what the actual best teams are, so I don't have every single comp, but hopefully this can help you wherever you are. And without further ado, let's get into it. And as always, starting with offense-only teams, this is probably the biggest sector by far. You can kind of judge by the size of the scroll bar. These are teams that might not necessarily be not good enough for defense, but you might have a specific reason you need to keep them on offense because they're just too valuable as a counter. But first, we got Sith Eternal. I would either try to use him full solo or with like Sith Empire Trooper or something, which I don't know. He's kind of got competition with Bane for Sith Empire Trooper, but I like Watt on defense with Admiral Trench Kron, and Separatists stuff. But C on his own can easily take out General Skywalker. I think Malicos is going to be an easy target. So there's a lot of stuff, and I don't really think he's going to get too much done on defense, even though we do have Sith-specific Krons. Probably not. If your opponent does have Bo-Katan, which I don't know if she's still going to be a super easy counter without her special Kron. She might still be pretty good against Lord Vader. You might want to take him on offense with Royal Guard and take out something small, or use a different comp that I'm going to go over later, which has Maul in it. But Lord Vader on offense, I think with the Amplify Agony Datacron type thing, can actually get a lot done. So just keep an eye out for that. Darth Bane, just incredible. I mean, he's still got his Datacron for now. You can counter pretty much anything. Not going to be viable on defense because you can't set him with just 2 characters. If you set him with 3 and one of them dies, then Rule of 2 is going to be applied. But what are the chances of that? So we're going to keep him on offense. At Sith Empire, I do later have some flex squads for them, but if you really need a Reva counter, I don't know if it's still going to work with Reva Krons. But this team works for Reva, Malicos, Dark Trooper, Moff Gideon, those pesky teams that are really hard to deal with. You might not necessarily want to use a Galactic Legend on it, and Malgus is pretty vulnerable to Cal, so I probably want to take that on offense. And I think it's really flexible who you want to use. I don't know, any 2 of these 3 could actually go. You should probably look up any counters before you try them. This right here, JML, Revan, and Barriss, I think is going to be a decent Lord Vader counter again, now that we don't have Doubt anymore. Revan has a cleanse, Barriss kind of passively cleanses, gains turn meter, but you're just trying to mark down Maul, and you want to make sure you have a good protection Kron for JML. Or if you really want to be safe, you can bring in Cal alongside Revan. They both have cleanses. That makes it really safe. I don't know if they'll still be able to beat JMK. Kind of the same thought that the cleanses there will help them get rid of the protection disruption, because it's not a locked debuff. And then you can just mark down Commander Tano and then hopefully take her out. But that protection disruption is brutal. So JMK is kind of a question mark for now. The team is still really strong, though. Might be able to take down other stuff. I probably wouldn't trust it on like Jabba, though. In this Revan team, this is kind of like you take out a B team now with it. I'd recommend probably a Jedi offense Kron, but you want Yoda there for the damage, and either use Jolie or Bastila. It just depends. If you need an insurance policy, you bring Jolie. If you think it's going to be quick and you need to do it like effectively, Bastila in there probably just for a cleanse, calling Yoda, and good synergy with Revan. And then of course the Malgus counter, I think you just want Cal and then GK as the tank is probably the best option. You can go with others, like old Ben, maybe. GK is just probably the best. I mean, he has the auto near permanent taunt to protect Cal. And well, Malgus, if it is on defense, is probably going to avoid taunts, but still you want something there to protect him. And GK hands out crit immunity, which is helpful. Afra, I really wouldn't put it on defense. I don't know what to use it on offense right now, honestly. But without her Datacron, she's kind of lost. On defense, she's, especially without a Doubtcron, she's very vulnerable to CLS, who doesn't otherwise have too many uses right now in Kyber 1. But just keep an eye out. I mean, on defense, she's really vulnerable. Also to First Order TIE Pilot, which is going to be a bigger thing right now with First Order Datacrons. Bad Batch, I really like the thought of the Protection Disruption level 6 on them. Also Thick Cron. If I'm alluding to any set 15 Datacrons, it should just be taken as a given. We want that plus 15% max health and protection on the level 3. So I didn't feel like shoving that into every little title I have. But Protection Disruption would be a great one, and there's a bunch of other benefits, but this team does get protection up. So I think Wrecker might be the best third in some cases. It just depends. I'm not sure how it would do against like General Grievous Stap with a Stap Omicron and Datacron, but we'll see. Bounty Hunters, not viable in defense, but just used it to snipe out a big character or what have you. And if there's a weaker Lord Vader or Lord Vader set without Maul, Fennec Shah might be able to get it done, although I don't know with the Sith Cron. Admiral Radis, this is an efficient team, banner efficient, good against like Adversio or another Imperial Trooper team or Empire team. Probably not going to trust it against Inquisitors right now, but once upon a time, every once in a while, it's pretty effective. Malicos, so if you want to use this team without a tank, you want to take them on offense. Because if you put them on defense, you really need to put a tank. That was kind of built around Gidme, so maybe that's not as big a thing, but people still can do the Gidme comp. You can use Cal in the third or Soka Fulcrum. Fulcrum does amazing damage, just like Malicos. I think armor penetration is going to be amazing for them. And otherwise, probably light side stacking health and defense, just because you're going to have 2 light side on the team. Or you could bring like Colorado Mast or even Ninth Sister, and then maybe have dark side thickness. Who knows? Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, I'm giving for now an offense only rating, taking it off defense, because without the Cron, it'll be more vulnerable to things. Like I think actually Admiral Radis might be pretty good against this now, which is a really cheap counter. But on offense, you can choose who you use it against. On defense, people can pick it apart if there's one glaring weakness. And with that, that's summon Dark Trooper and the crazy extra damage. They're going to be a lot more limited. This is the best lineup with Baby Moff Gideon and then Scout Trooper. You could run something else. Since it is on offense, you could do Stormtrooper or Death Trooper. Probably not Dark Trooper, but it's going to be a good team. Just probably not as safe on defense anymore. And then Padme, I think this team actually might be a legit threat on its own. You don't have to do General Kenobi. You could have Mace Windu in there, but with the Protection Disruption and the Padme Datacron, that's going to be a nice combo. I don't know if I would have put it on defense. We'll see. But for right now, I think it's definitely something to keep in mind when you're planning your attacks. And then the Hux team, I keep it in here even though I haven't used it in forever. It's good against Afra, and I think with the defense to offense for this team, it's probably the way to go. The really wordy long one is all built around juicing up the leader, which you don't really care about Hux doing more damage. So I'd probably do the defense to offense there. CLS, I'm not trusting it on defense right now. It doesn't have protection up anymore. It doesn't have any specific rebel mechanics. Just not really going to be that great. You might not even find anything to use this on. CLS is kind of falling off in Kyber 1, sadly. And in other leagues, maybe it's even good on defense. I don't know. Imperial Troopers, also more of a lower league team. Maybe not even just like, that might even just mean Kyber 2 or Kyber 3. But it's hard for me to find uses for this team anymore. But still really strong. They don't have an applicable Datacron. I'd probably go with armor penetration and stacking health and defense. Night Sisters, there's too many like anti-revive things out there, so I wouldn't recommend them on defense at all. And they don't have an applicable Night Sister mechanic or anything. They really miss having doubt. It was great for them. Just go with stacking health and protection and try to find something you can pick off with it. They might not get used. Geo's pretty much a cleanup team. Newt Django B1, still just a mainly Qui-Gon Jinn counter team. And that even goes for all the crazy offense for Jedi, because the thought is Jango's immune to damage for 2 turns. It doesn't matter if you do a million or not, or B1, he's still going to take 8 stacks, and Nuke comes back once, and then Jango does crazy damage. So I'll go with like probably the Separatist Kron, I guess. Or maybe not. You might want to go with Thick Kron. I don't know. Armor Pen will be great for Jango. Wampa, just kind of a cleanup at this point. Dash, I don't really know too much about Dash teams, but I know that if you have the Omicron, you can make some stuff happen. Versio, I took her off of a defense or a flex slot because I think she's just way too vulnerable to Admiral Radis, doesn't have an applicable Kron. But if you do bring her on offense, I do like using Death Trooper and Range Trooper with her, and it's a great counter to any CLS comps. Starkiller, also a team that I'm not recommending for defense at all. I did last season, but for I think just on offense now, you want to go with Armor Pen, stacking, health and protection, and yeah, there's not too much else to it. We have some Sith Krons, but that's not going to be worth it. I think you really want to go for Armor Pen. If you have the Sidious Kron, I think Darth Sidious is going to be fun. I think Tuskens are actually a good target for him. Because he ramps enough damage eventually to kill them. He kind of got to simultaneously kill both Raiders, but it worked out for me very well last season. I think if there's like a really high armor penetration or offense or something, probably steer clear, but otherwise go for Tuskens. And then Supreme Leader Kylo with First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot. I know it's a mouthful. If you have his Kron and get him to R5, I think this can take out pretty much everything. I have it on the end of offense only, and I have other sleeker comps later that could be good on defense as well. But Supreme Leader Kylo is going to be a juggernaut this season, so just look out for him. We either want to use Special Forces TIE Pilot Kron or his specific data Kron. Each are going to be crazy, crazy good. Moving on to defense, this is a lot smaller than the offense only section, but I have come around to the mindset of you want the Rey Datacron for your Galactic Legend Rey team and the Holocron for Zori. You also want the OP level 6, meaning no one can die until everyone's fallen below full health and protection. That makes this team really hard to deal with, even without any resistance heroes. You want to go with this, and then the offense level 6. Cal is a great shoe-in because, might not throw in Captain Rex and Echo because we don't have room for all of them, but Cal has a natural function and also does a good amount of debuffs. But the main thing is the Rey Datacron herself. I don't know how Malicos is going to be, but with Malicos and Starkiller, I think it's probably a good counter to this, but otherwise, really good defensive team. And then Gungans, if you have Jar Jar Binks, I think this is probably going to be the best, if not one of the best, if not the best defensive team in the game. I don't know if you want Phalanx or like Tarpals, because you got a tank, then you got the other support character. But like either way, it's going to be crazy. I mean, the Jar Jar Datacron is just insane. I think there's room for a comp with Boss Nass, Phalanx, and Tarpals. If you don't have Jar Jar, but you do have them in relics, which will be kind of rare, but they're going to be annoying. I don't even understand them. And then Lord Vader could go on defense like this if you have Maul and Admiral Thrawn. I think that is the best comp. I don't think you necessarily want another tank in there. I think that makes it a lot easier for things like JML and potentially even Bounty Hunters. Well, no, don't use Bounty Hunters on a straight up team that has Maul. But they are not an automatic gift victory to your opponent because there's no Bo Datacron anymore. I think Jedi Knight Luke with 100% offense does have potential. I think you probably want Hermit Yoda in there and Mace Windu. You want someone really fast, so if Hermit Yoda's not fast, maybe you throw in Shaak Ti in there. But it's all about juicing up Jedi Knight Luke and try to make someone use something on a team that they're not used to facing. Keller and Beck DC, also a contender for Mace Windu's attention, but Mace Windu and Shaak Ti were a pretty good combo here. Mace Windu because he's like a Swiss Army knife, Shaak Ti for the protection recovery, and all the buffs she can give out and offense up. I think it's going to be pretty annoying. Tuskens in 3v3, as always, they are something to be worried about. I think you want to go with stacking health and protection as well as much armor penetration as you can get, and these Tuscans will hit pretty hard. And like I alluded to earlier, if you want to set Malicos on defense, you want to use Kylo Ren Unmasked to protect from an easy kill from Gidme, or even, maybe just Padme with the protection disruption Kron. Or that might still be easy to beat. But if you want it on defense, I think you need a tank. And then for Trench, I do think it's only really worth setting on the high end of Kyber 1, or even just Kyber 1 generally, with Watt. And then Dooku is really annoying. So if you have it, get that like riposte DC level 6. If not, target lock might be okay. I have the target lock one, and I got holds once in a while. Saw, we don't have the Chirrut Datacron anymore, but you either want to run Saw with Chirrut and Baze, or Captain Rex and Cara Dune, or Cara Dune and Kyle Katarn. Like, there's something in here. There's something good. Captain Rex and Cara Dune, there was one time last season I just got completely stopped. They had the protection up, which was really annoying, but I think if you give them the thick Kron, it could be kind of annoying as well. So I think it's still a good defensive team, and Saw's Omicron really does the heavy lifting here. So don't sleep on it. It's not going to be incredible anymore, but you might catch people off guard. When I say offense here for this Dash team, it doesn't mean take this on offense. It is a defensive team I'm recommending, but you want as much offense as you can get, because Hondo does special damage, so you don't want Armor Pen, and he doesn't have the highest crit chance, but the crit damage, his crit damage stacks anyway, I think, so you just want as much offense as you can get. General Grievous, I think either setting with B2 and B1 with the target lock Datacron is great, or if you have Stap, maybe B2 and Stap, or Magna Guard and Stap. I'm just not really sure, because I don't have the Stap Omicron myself. And then I do like the Rex 5s comp a lot, and I actually think damage reduction for Galactic Republic is really worth it. Captain Rex is kind of hard. He doesn't benefit from that, but it's hard to take him down anyway. And then if people are trying to go for 5s first, that makes it a lot more difficult, especially since he gains turn meter all the time. So look out for that team. There's going to be there's a ton of armor shred on it, but damage reduction, probably, armor pen, offense, anything like that you can stack on the DC. Hondo, this team, this is another option for Hondo. Queel and IG-11, not amazing, but it's just a vehicle to put Hondo there. This team is kind of a filler team, but I'm not sure if it's going to work. Fifth Brother is the most solid lead outside of Reva and Grand Inquisitor. The Ninth Sister Datacron looks pretty strong. And then Eighth Brother. If we have the Wordy level 6, that gives a lot of exposes from Purge and stuff. I think that can stack pretty well, and that might be an actually decent team. Wookiees, I don't think are great. I'm glad I didn't develop them, because I am not scared at all when I see them. On offense, they might do something, but on defense, I have them in the defensive tab. If these are all R9, they might be good. And then Boss Nass, the Gungan team I already mentioned. If you don't have Jar Jar, but you do have Relic Gungans, I still think it's worth it if you get a good DC for them. And that is it for defensive squads. And last but not least, we got the flex teams. This is the smallest segment. We got some of the biggest, heaviest hitters here. So JMK and Supreme Lord Kylo are at the top because they are kind of featured Datacron-wise. Jedi Master Kenobi with the protection disruption is going to be insane. It's going to be almost unstoppable. There's a lot of protection up to go around on the team. You could even slot in Padme instead of like one of these tanks. It's just up to you. I don't know. That might be a Juggernaut on defense. We'll see. But then you kind of leave Commander Ahsoka Tano open. But then you can either, you don't have to do that. You could do damage reduction, which would also be strong. You want all the extra stats. Probably offense, because of the special damage from Cat. Offense or crit damage. But it's going to be a crazy good team. On defense, I'd be scared of it. But on offense, it's a great tool as well. Supreme Leader Kylo, he's a monster. If you have his Kron, then he just starts right out the gate doing insane damage. It's better in 5v5 because there's more teammates, more relics to go around. It might be worth it to increase relics on your random First Order characters like First Order Officer. It's good for a ship. First Order Officer and General Hawks have ships. So maybe you get them up to 7 or something in these 4 months. But these 2 pass turns, Tim, I wrote fast because you really want as much speed as you can. Like, if you can just get out in front and hit hard, even if you put this on defense, it's going to be hard to deal with. Think of a blazing fast Sprinkler Kylo, really fast Hux, and First Order Officer passing turns. The technical correct move is to make First Order Officer faster than Hux. I haven't gotten around to doing that, but I need to remod these characters to make them fast because he is just insane. He hits like crazy. And if you have the Special Order, Special Forces First Order type, whatever it is, we already talked about that. So it's either Sprinkler Kylocron or Phosphotopa Datacron 2. They're both amazing. Java is, I think offense or defense quite clearly. The best counter for him is JMK, but with JMK having higher value, people might be sticking him on defense, which makes Java harder to handle. So it's a whole big mind games thing. So they're still great. I don't know what to focus on specifically for them. Maybe dark side thickness, but they're solid no matter what Datacron you throw on them, honestly. Leia, standard team. You want a thick Datacron. I think offense or defense can't really go wrong. It's really awesome on offense. On defense, Bane kind of kills it, so you might not want to do that. But if you can draw Bane somewhere else and then have her on the back or something, that's great. But if you're afraid of Bane, just take her on offense. Bo-Katan, I think you want the thick Kron, just make them hard to deal with. I think you want armor penetration or offense, just a lot of those attack stats. And it's not going to be as good as it was, but it's still pretty good. Then Reva, if you don't want to run 9th Sister and you're really tied to 7th Sister, you can use the Reva level 9, but you want the Wordy level 6, and then 9th Sister is going to be a good option. So I'm thinking I might sit 9th Sister with these 2, and it'll be a kind of pretty annoying for people to deal with. But it's going to be a really, really strong team. Just look out for it. Then the Smash Bros. At the beginning of last season, I kind of forgot about it somehow. It's your Starkiller and Malicos. It's only viable in 3v3 to run Starkiller with Malicos and get both bonuses, because you need all of them to be unaligned Force users for all of Malicos' kit to apply. Seer only affects Ufus, but Starkiller needs purity. He can't have 4 Ufu teammates in 5v5, but in 3v3 you can have 1 light side, 1 dark side, and it works. This takes out Ray pretty well. I think it's probably going to be the go-to if you see a Ray Kron, because they prevent revives and they just do crazy damage, crazy durable, amazing team. Probably go for armor pen with them and maybe dark side thickness. Darth Revan, I think this beats Seer, Malicos, and Crew. So that's a good counter to that. On defense, it could also be annoying if you want to split up your Sith Empire and make it 2 teams instead of 1. Darth Revan lead, definitely viable. You could also run Amplify Agony if you don't want to run a thick Kron. We don't have doubt anymore, though, so the choice between... I think it's probably leaning more toward that Amplify Agony, ignore Taunt Data Kron from set 14 for them. And then Sith, I think in general, if you want to set it on defense or you're taking out something really strong, you want Traya, Savage, and Nihilus. But Traya, Nihilus, and Geobrute Alpha can actually take out Malgus. But like these 3, if you want to take out Reva or Malicos, you would need to try these 3. I probably wouldn't try Reva this season. I don't know. It might still work. Who knows? And General Skywalker, I think you could put this on offense or defense, honestly, even though we have Rex and 5s with Captain Rex, in my opinion, just because of the extra offense on the level 6. And yeah, if you put it on defense, it's just an easy Sith Eternal Emperor win. But then you're drawing Sith Eternal Emperor, and they're using it on a team that doesn't have Rex and 5s. Otherwise, it's not that easy to take out a steroided up General Skywalker. I think Daishan and Chewie could have some viability on defense still, but then on offense, it's still going to be really valuable. This team gets a lot out of Armor Pen, so load it up with Armor Pen, stacking, health and protection, and you're good to go. Maul, still don't know if this is an offense-only team or not, but I think this could be... if I see it on defense, I'm a little bit scared of it. I think there might be some cheap counters, which kind of slipped my mind, but I'm still keeping it in flex for now. Qui-Gon Jinn, Cam, and Jedi Anakin, I think it's going to be amazing. You get the Ki-Adi-Mundi level 9. You get the super offense up for Jedi. I think it's still something to be worried about. So just make sure you throw that Cam Kron on there. Offense or defense? I mean, defense at the highest end, it might steal some banners for you. But it can take, like, just if you bring on offense, it can also pack quite a punch too, if you really just need to punch up. And then for Malgus, I think you could go either offense or defense. On defense, it's like a little bit more vulnerable, of course, to like Cal and stuff, but put the Amplify Agony Cron on it. Maybe you snipe their Cal on defense, so I don't know, it's a chance. Not a high priority, but so it is kind of lower on the totem pole. But yeah, that is it. That is all our flex squads, and therefore all the squads for this season. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. And I've enjoyed this break, but I am ready to get back to Grand Arena. So hopefully I see you out there for this 3v3 season. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys. See ya.